If you're thinking about moving to Las Vegas and becoming an official Las Vegas local, spending some time at the dreaded DMV is definitely going to be a part of your process. This video is here to help you understand what the rules are, what you might need to expect, and kind of the timelines associated with actually becoming a Las Vegas local so that you can do it right, you can avoid fines, and you can start living your best Las Vegas life as soon as possible. Now, becoming a Las Vegas local definitely has a couple of caveats. You want to make sure that you fit within one of these categories. If you plan to live in Las Vegas for more than 7 months out of the year, you're a Las Vegas local. Plan to run a business out of Las Vegas, you're a Las Vegas local. If you plan to register to vote, you need to become a Las Vegas local. If you plan to work in Nevada, you need to be a Las Vegas local. Some of you people have like the work experiences where you can work from home, work from anywhere. You're gonna have to talk to your HR department about that. But if you wanna call yourself a Las Vegas local and actually become one, these are the things you're gonna need to do. A lot of people ask me, do I really have to get a Nevada ID if I'm gonna live in Las Vegas and become a Las Vegas local? Unfortunately, or fortunately, depends on what you like, the answer is yes. So I know some of you have a hard time letting go of your New York State license or your California driver's license because you love that photo, or honestly because you probably don't want to let go of the fact that you actually moved out of your home state. I hate to break it to you, but when you move to Nevada, you definitely have to get that ID, so make it happen quickly. The cost is pretty nominal to get a new ID. It's anywhere from $42 to a little bit above that. Check the DMV website, make sure you're looking to see what applies to you, but it's not expensive. You got to get that ID so you don't get in trouble if you get pulled over or something goes crazy. And at the end of the day, just keep that extra ID in the drawer, revisit it, look at it, swoon over the old days of when you looked like you did. But at the end of the day, when you're a Nevada local, you got to get that ID. Now, a lot of people ask me, oh my God, does this mean I have to get a whole driver's test, do that whole thing all over again? Not necessarily. If you have a valid driver's license in another state, typically you can just transfer that over to Las Vegas, become a local, not have to do any tests. If you have special vision requirements, that might be something that they want to look at. But at the end of the day, just check the website to make sure what category you fit into. But for the most part, you're not going to have to take the driver's test over again. Okay, now let's talk about insurance for your car and changing your registration. Some of the most boring topics ever, but they're definitely important. So you have 30 days from establishing residency here to change your registration for your car over to Nevada. That's really important because if you were to get pulled over and the cop realizes that you've been here for 6 months, 8 months, whatever, and they realize you haven't changed over your registration, you're subject to fine and possibly a ticket. So make sure you're paying attention to those timelines. The only bad part about the registration process is that you're gonna actually have to visit the DMV in person for this process. Okay, I brought my phone out because I want to make sure I'm reading the exact list of requirements, documents that you're going to need to bring with you to the DMV when it's time to change over that registration. They're going to want an evidence of insurance, so make sure you've already switched over your insurance to Nevada, make sure it's all established and ready to go. The Nevada Emissions Vehicle Inspection Report, so if you need a smog test or anything like that, get that done before you go to the DMV. Vehicle title, unless it's held by the lien holder, unless you still are paying on those payments, but definitely bring the title if not, because they're not going to believe that it's your car. They definitely want your current vehicle registration for wherever you're coming from, your license plates, and a read on whatever mileage you have on your odometer. The last thing you're going to want is your VIN number so that they can make sure that they can look at it and run an inspection report. So that's it. Unfortunately, because of the fact that you have to go in person, I definitely, you know as well as I do, the DMV is horrible. I definitely highly suggest that you go online, dmv.nv, and make an appointment. When you use their appointment system, believe it or not, it's actually pretty much a breeze. A lot of people in other states tell me, even with an appointment, I'm waiting 6 hours. That's not really how Nevada does it. They've done a really good job of setting up queues at different locations and allowing you to actually book that appointment. The most you're gonna spend is an hour there, and I've honestly been in and out in 6 minutes with an appointment. So there's good and there's bad, but if you can spare an hour, I think you're gonna be able to get in and out with a breeze. The next big question is, how much is it gonna cost me to register my vehicle? This is a hard one to answer because it really depends on how old your vehicle is, what type of vehicle it is, all things going into it. So I want you to understand, the newer your vehicle, the more expensive it's going to be. And a lot of times people reach out to me and say, Jesus, I had no idea it was going to be this expensive to register my car. In Arizona, we only pay $38. In this state, we only pay this much each year, whatever that looks like. In Nevada, that's definitely a place where they're going to charge you. So be prepared to come with your checkbook or your debit card. Now, I've seen people pay anywhere from $800 because it's a brand new Jaguar that just came off the lot, all the way down to $52 because it's an older Ford pickup that is a vintage vehicle. It's really going to depend. The great news for you though is you don't have to walk in with no idea. The DMV offers an estimator tool online that you can utilize. Just plug in the information about your vehicle and it'll give you an estimate so that you know what you're walking into when it's time to make sure that registration is up to date. Okay, and finally, here's a couple of pro tips for you when it comes to utilizing the DMV and also just getting all this stuff switched over. Pro tip number one, use the online appointment setter and show up for the appointment. Don't miss the appointment. Get there early, show up. You can get in and out in 6-7 minutes if you do it the right way. Make sure you show up. There's multiple locations around town that offer it, so make sure you look at the right one. Another sort of pro tip is there is one DMV location in town that does not do anything related to like normal cars. It's simply for commercial drivers only. So make sure you're not booking at that location. They're pretty good about saying it online, but I've personally booked one by accident there and I had to reschedule and it put me really far behind on my timelines. Pro tip number 2 is don't wait. Don't wait till the 28th day or the 30th day. Get it going the minute you get here. The longer you wait, the more hassle it's gonna be. And you know as well as I do, the DMV is not fun when it comes to making appointments. So when you move to Vegas, give yourself a week or so to kind of get settled and figure out what's going on, and then get online right away so you can get your stuff going. Okay, the next pro tip is notify your former state where you're leaving from that you're actually moving away. Believe it or not, even though you switch over your stuff to Nevada, they're not always notified to let them know that you don't live there anymore. And sometimes there can be some pretty harsh penalties as it relates to having a dual residency kind of setup. So make sure you let them know that you're leaving, let us know you're coming, and we'll get you all situated. My last pro tip for you is check the DMV website for tax exemptions. There are a huge list of tax exemptions that might apply to you depending on if you fit within one of the categories. Veterans, military licensing, people who are over a certain age, you name it, you might actually apply. So I highly recommend you check it out because who doesn't want to save a little money? I hope this video was helpful. I definitely don't want to see anybody spending any more time at the DMV than they absolutely have to. Make sure you get there early. Make sure you make an appointment. Make sure you don't wait too long after you move to Vegas. You don't want to be fined and you certainly don't want to get a ticket. And at the end of the day, go in with a smile. You're in Vegas now, baby. Why would you not be happy about that? I'll see you next time.